Distinguished guests, esteemed partners, digital rights advocates, and participants from around the world, welcome. On behalf of the government and people of Taiwan, it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you to RightsCon 2025. We're deeply privileged to host this esteemed gathering of thought leaders, policymakers, technology experts, and activists who share a common commitment to upholding human rights in the digital era. In fact,
that was Taiwan's Vice President Xiao B. Kim welcoming guests at RightsCon 2025. You're probably wondering what RightsCon is. Well, it is a big annual gathering that convenes business leaders, policymakers, general counsels, government representatives, technologists, academics, journalists, and human rights advocates from around the world as they take on pressing issues at the intersection of human rights and technology. And I was really lucky to be there and to meet with two individuals tackling very different but equally urgent questions about our digital future. Who controls the internet, and who does your AI work for?
Yeah, hi, my name is Richard Whitt. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm the president of an organization called the GliaNet Alliance.
Here's Richard, a distinguished public policy attorney, technology strategist, and entrepreneur. He spent over 11 years with Google, including 4 years as corporate director for its strategic initiatives. And more recently, he authored the book Reweaving the Web, which lays out a blueprint for his new project, GliaNet.
We just started this alliance about 4 months ago. It's 20 member companies and growing, mostly based in the United States, who want to be what we call a net fiduciary. So an organization that has a duty of care and loyalty to people not as mere users, but as customers or clients, that give them empowerment in terms of their data, and then AI agents that are trained on them that represent them on the web. So basically technologies to give people more empowerment on the internet. And being here at RightsCon, which is this amazing gathering every year of these activists, it gives us a chance to be more global and meet more people and hopefully build our community.
According to GliaNet Alliance's website, Richard and his partners are building a human-centered web ecosystem using transformative governance principles from the common law of fiduciaries. The Alliance's mission, quote, is to transform the current web ecosystem by establishing trustworthy digital relationships, putting human interests first. So how does one put human interests first? At a time when everyone is talking about how AI is going to replace human.
Yeah, so right now, as you probably know, we have all of the different LLM companies like OpenAI and Meta and Google, and they have their own AI agents now that they want us to utilize. They want us to think it's our agent, so they want it to put on our laptop or on our devices, and we use it, and we think that it's representing us and doing things to our benefit, but really it's representing them. So it's taking data from us, whether we know it or not. Maybe it's influencing our behaviors. They're trying to sell us advertising. So the notion here is we should have AI agents that actually represent us, right? That are trained on us, that take our best interests at heart, and then we can take those comfortably to the web and use them as our avatars to interact with their corporate agents. So that's consistent with the idea of the fiduciary duties of care and loyalty. So these agents are loyal to us. They're not loyal to Sam Altman or Elon Musk or anybody else.
But how does one do that?
So that's partly what we're building out. We call a community of practice. So the notion is we want to, together as a group of companies, develop the ethical business models, the ethical technology standards, company practices, company policies, and use that as a uniform interface that we will then open source to the rest of the world who want to use the same things. So we want to build those kinds of protections in place as these AI agents are actually being built and put into the marketplace. So it's an evolved process, but we think it's worth it that we put the time and effort in to make sure that these agents are in fact representing us and not somebody else, or turning against our interests or doing things that don't benefit us.
What Richard is doing sounds innovative and well-intentioned, but at a time when every big company seems to be seeking profit over goodwill, how successful is Richard's alliance forming?
So we started just 4 months ago, and we have 20 member companies. The biggest is Consumer Reports, based in the United States. They have about 5 or 6 million members. And so they're building an AI agent right now to represent consumers when they're interacting with big companies or governments in situations around customer service. And so again, they would sort of go in, knock on the door, talk to the other agent, and then negotiate the terms of some sort of a settlement around a customer service disagreement. So that's a good example of an agent that represents you, not a company or not the government.
I asked Richard what is his biggest concern when it comes to AI technology.
I mean, people talk a lot about the so-called AGI, which is the general intelligence, which is the idea that AI is going to sort of take over the world and you know, sort of the Terminator vision. I'm much more concerned about AI agents that are out there intended to represent us but really don't. So they'll start going out shopping on our behalf, or going and grabbing political views or social media feeds or information. There's lots of ways that these AI agents can just not represent us and actually harm us psychologically. They want to understand us at a deep level, and then bring all that data and insights back to the companies in ways that will in fact hurt us. So I think that's the real threat, and we're not going to really know it because there's so much of this is complicated technology that people don't understand. And so part of what we're trying to do is explain why there's a very positive vision around the technology if used in the right ways, that people understand and can have authentic trust that these are actually doing things for their benefit.
If you're interested in learning more about Richard's work, go to GliaNetAlliance.org. That is GliaNetAlliance.org. After speaking with Richard, I met a person whose job is to enhance digital resilience and self-determination for vulnerable communities.
Jason, and I work with eQualitie out of Montreal.
Jason's company, eQualitie, is a nonprofit organization developing technologies to promote digital and community resilience, especially in environments threatened by censorship, surveillance, climate change, and network isolation.
Well, we're here to share our software tools that help communities and countries and cultures that are facing disconnection from the internet, being blocked, being censored, filtered, isolated networks, and we provide open source, free software tools for them to combat different scenarios that they might face.
According to eQualitie, their evolving ecosystem is designed to guarantee open and robust access to information and communication tools for civil society organizations, independent media, communities, and individuals.
Most of our work is in Ukraine, Russia, Iran, Lebanon, Middle East. Yeah. Well, let's start at the beginning. Back in 2014, the start of the Russian-Ukraine war really happened, the Crimean War over Crimea. So we released a piece of software called Deflect, and it protected all the news organizations from attacks, denial of service attacks. So that was our first foray into software working with and helping countries. Then we developed some different technologies, and over time developed a community sharing web browser, basically a BitTorrent-based web browser. And that allows people in one person who views it once, then it pushes it to the community, and then anyone else in the world can view that, even if that site is blocked or banned in that country. Well, the old software distribution system that's been around for decades, and we use that protocol because it's sitting there, it's very resilient, hard to take down, and it's distributed. It's a peer-to-peer system, which makes it, if you can push data into a cache inside a country's, what they call the DHT, the distributed hash table, I think it stands for, then all of a sudden now that resource exists in that country and then can be pushed anywhere else at that point in time. We created a product called WeNet, and it's a software tool that any software developer can put into their own software to be able to take advantage of using the BitTorrent as a caching network globally, as a distributed caching network.
As clueless as I am about the technology, what Jason is doing seems to be providing internet in war zones like Ukraine.
Well, it's not building internet for Ukrainian people. It's more that now the eastern Ukraine, Donbass, Donetsk region, since the occupation has happened, all their data now routes through Russia. It doesn't go through the Ukraine anymore, so they don't get the same media resources anymore. All the websites are banned. They can't get it. Now they're also being filtered by the Russian government and surveilled by the Russian government. So one of the projects we work on is to bring all these banned websites back into the country. And we use a number of methods. One, using the Sino browser, which is censorship.no is the domain name for that. And using that browser allows people to view those sites. But if they do get blocked further, we use other technologies like satellites to push data back into those regional networks. So it's more rebuilding pieces of the internet. We also do with hardware as well. We donated hundreds of lithium-ion batteries that we were able to procure through our donors, and also not hundreds of kilometers, but a significant amount of fiber optic cable we just delivered in December to them as well. Yes, yeah. All of it. I didn't give you my last name for a reason. So I got this red tag, don't photograph me. So all of us are constantly aware that it's risky for us, but it's also risky for the partners we deal with, which is why, above all else, the safety of our partners is the utmost priority. So we are very specific and what's the word I'm looking for? Stringent on using encryption protocols, not publishing our names, careful where we communicate, and careful which airlines and which countries we fly through. Because some of us have countries that are not friendly to us. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of risk sometimes.
The organization Jason works for is eQualitie, and their mission is to promote and defend fundamental freedoms and human rights, including the free flow of information online. And while doing so, people like Jason chose to sacrifice their personal freedoms and taking the risks to protect other people's rights. They recently launched a satellite TV channel called eQTV, focusing on digital technology education. If you're interested in their work, go to eQualitie.ie for more information. Thank you for listening. This episode is produced by Radio Taiwan International.